You can see that this Oregon team is built for championships through the Big Ten, and they were really prepared for a Big Ten championship, like a Big Ten, like just slugfest. Is USC built the same way? Like they're more like a Corvette. That was like a Jeep game. Like, and this is going to be another Jeep game. Like, I don't know. Can the Corvette like get in the mud?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the saddle. College football week 12 on deck. We are back with you. Talk about all the marquee matchups. Talk about some data, some edges. Give you some free game as well. BTB Analytics here. Kevin, Seth, and Steve taking you through the rundown as usual, guys. Seth, Steve, another just kind of reiterating what we've been saying for several weeks at this point. Model win rate, guys. 61.2% year to date, 57 and 36 overall, 5-2 last week again in week 11. So it's been a fun season. Seth, before we jump into the matchups and stuff, we've talked about this in pockets and on our social media channels, whatnot, TikTok, but it might be helpful or maybe worth a line or two about the model performance, generally speaking, because we're hitting at 61.2%. Our expectation coming into the season is that we'll finish, I should say preseason, we expect to be around 55%, right? So any like a high level thoughts on what we've seen from the model's performance year to date and how, if anything, you expect things to be different in the last 6 to 7 weeks of the season.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. We went into the season thinking around a 55% win rate, and that's only because that's what we've seen historically. And we did update some things in the off season, and we hope that those changes would kind of give us the edge that we are seeing now, and that just ends up being the case. That being said, 60% in back testing does seem to be about as good as it's going to get. So look, we could totally win out at this rate. We could regress to 55%. We're seeing it this week. There's a lot less volume. So that'll be interesting to see if we see the same volume we've been seeing throughout the season. We've been on about 10 plus games almost every week. Last week, 7 games. I think this week we're only at 4. And we had to kind of stretch to get that 4. So we'll see what happens. I think no matter what, the biggest thing, we're stressing to clients is like, this is not the time to, quadruple your max bet. That kind of ship has sailed. Now is the time to lock up profit. If you do nothing else, you will be profitable this season. And so it's all about maintaining that edge right now. But look, I think it's business as usual. There's no reason we can't win 60%. That's not mathematically impossible. I've seen it, like I said, in multiple back testing seasons. And we're seeing a good season. So I think we can definitely win out at the 60% rate. But you're right to call it out. Like we saw like 70% last week. Those are probably.
Yeah, we've had a couple of like 8-1 weeks or 7-1 weeks, like
9-2s. The model's on fire. I mean, we're not going to apologize for it. I think the bigger, maybe more important data point is almost the same amount in closing line value. So we're not like, we don't fool ourselves. Closing line value is kind of the currency we live in. We're beating the market by and large week in and week out by a huge proportion, around 60%. So, our win rate is actually commensurate with that. And I wouldn't really say we're over or underperforming if you base it off closing line value. We're kind of right at where we should be.
Sure. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah. So like I said, just thought it was worth a minute or two of comments on that. Cause it's been fun. It's been a super fun season, and we're looking to, nonetheless, like you said, 4 games this week, which is a lot lower volume than we have been seeing in weeks past, but business as usual, like you said. So, and that is what we are here to do, boys. So let's get back to the regularly scheduled programming. We got a bunch of good matches to talk about, give you some offer numbers, and give out some free game at the end of this show for all the week 12 rundown. So let's start with the college game day matchup. Why don't we? Game day going to Notre Dame and the Pittsburgh matchup. Steve, this one from a market standpoint opened at largely minus 10 in favor of Notre Dame, has moved to 11.5 now, and that's largely where the market's at right now. Our numbers at our model, makes this minus 12, so we don't have any value on either side of this one. But I have to say, I was a little, I don't say head in the sand on Pitt a little bit, but I am pleasantly surprised looking at the numbers in how efficient they are, particularly on defense. They are our number 3 ranked rush defense team, and our number 8 overall defensive weighted team. So Notre Dame has not an easy matchup by any stretch of the imagination, but it being a 2-score game, being a 2-score spread here, Steve, like what is the game script and how do you see either one of these teams pulling out the cover here?
Yeah, I mean, this is a sneaky good matchup, and we talk about College game day being here, but you talking about it. Pitt has been red hot after a slow start, after benching Eli Holstein and going on to new quarterback Mason Heinschel, and they've been on a 5-game win streak, averaging 40 points per game, and this has really been sort of this rejuvenated Pitt offense that makes them a scary good team. I mean, what it's going to come down to, in my mind, we talk about Notre Dame historically. It's always been about that Notre Dame defense, and I think this will be a very tough test for Pitt. Don't get me wrong. Notre Dame plays man coverage a lot, roughly almost half the time here. And so Heinzel's going to have to really make sure he's making smart decisions and not throwing the ball away, because we know how aggressive those DBs can be. But you talk about not just Pitt being sneaky good, they're technically in playoff contention. You talk about this. I mean, if Pitt can go and win out, and it's a very, very tough schedule. They've got Notre Dame right here, obviously. They've got Georgia Tech. They've got Miami. But if they can find themselves at 10-2 and then 7-1 in conference play, they're in a 3-way tie potentially with either SMU, Duke, or Virginia. And depending on which teams they're in a tie with, they're either in it with SMU and Duke being the 3-way tie, or out of it with SMU and Virginia being a 3-way tie, because Pitt lost to Louisville, and Louisville is the sort of the key difference here. But I mean, these teams have everything to play for here. And so, listen, we're all about the numbers here. We're not really talking about betting off vibes. So we just had that whole monologue by Seth about why the model is doing so well. But I mean, for me, just as a fan, if there were ever a time to believe in intangibles, I gotta believe this is the time for a double-digit spread to want to back Pitt, just because of what we've seen this rejuvenation happen that maybe we're not quite catching up to. So that being said, again, officially, Rec, this is a no bet on our end. But yeah, I got to imagine this would be a lot closer of a game than the current double-digit spread is. Now, again, to counter that, this, like you mentioned, open at -10. It's moving against Pitt. So clearly there is evidence and more importantly, money that suggests otherwise here. But yeah, I think this is going to be a fantastic game.
Yeah, so we're still early in the market, so with time for that to either get bought back down or continue to move up, who really knows, But Seth, drilling down a little further on some of the efficiency numbers too. Like Notre Dame is our number 1 rated offense in our database, but again with Pitt's defense, like they're number 5 in defensive success rate, so they're keeping teams from consistently, I should say rather. They're consistently keeping teams off schedule offensively, right? So, what's a bend don't break here? Like, do you think Notre Dame has enough here to pull out the cover, or is that defense going to be enough for Pitt?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at these kind of stratifications, I think Pitt looks like they're good defensively, but there's kind of a deeper story. They are number 3 in stopping the rush, but they're 1 in stopping the pass. And so this Pitt team might look on a per down basis good, but that's really only if you're going to run the ball against them. If you're going to throw against them, you might have some success. And what do you know? Notre Dame is the number 7th passing offense in college football. So I think that's Notre Dame's pathway to success here. And Notre Dame, the interesting thing about that, I think that makes them position to cover this bigger number, is that Notre Dame is a very neutral pass run team. They're basically almost a 0% run rate over expected, which means that they run and pass about as average in both spots as you normally would, which makes me believe that they're going to be able to flip this switch to be able to throw the ball. Steve, you talked about wanting to back Pitt here because they should wanting to get up for this game. I don't know if you saw what Pat Narduzzi said about this game. It doesn't give a lot to be it doesn't feel like you want to grab the +10. He said,
what did he say?
He said the Notre Dame game is absolutely not a must win because it's not an ACC game, and his priority is winning the remaining conference game. He clarified that he would gladly get beat by 103 or 110-10 if his team could win the next 2 games. So I look, I'm not saying they don't give a shit, but he is. And so you combine that with our raw model number is 13 here for Notre Dame. That's a really tough thing to hear and to say. I get the game theory of it. Like, this game is meaningless, so fuck them,
Sure.
basically. But you can't tell me that's going to inspire the troops. The points per Eckel is interesting here. When we look at on the defensive side of the ball, Pitt's offensive side of the ball, Pitt is scoring 4.8 points per Eckel, Notre Dame 5.1. So to your point, Steve, in theory, Pitt could keep this close. What I like I said before, I think Notre Dame is just going to have to flip the switch to throw it a lot, and I think they can. And I'm not sure Pitt can get in a shootout with Notre Dame here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, first and foremost, I think we all know that Pat Play Possum Narduzzi has a reputation for this, as his nickname would suggest. But yeah, that definitely doesn't inspire confidence.
When did he get that nickname? I've never heard that before.
I just made it up. I saw the ACC focus quote. I didn't see the beat by 100 thing, so that is news to me.
Yeah. Is it alt season?
Yeah, no, that was the first thing that popped in my head when I heard that. I was like, okay, can we update? Can we make a midweek adjustment to the numbers here?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, what's the largest -30 or something? I don't even know what the book will give you, but I don't know. I mean, he is right. This game is basically meaningless as far as the ACC pathway that you've highlighted.
Right.
So
yeah, but the flip side is the inverse of that is certainly not true. Like, you would never catch Notre Dame making
slip. They cannot slip. They cannot slip.
Right.
Yeah.
So they're
and quite frankly, I'm surprised they're even still in the conversation, to be completely frank with you. But yeah, they 100% cannot slip.
Yeah. All right. We'll see. It'll be, again, College Game Day will be there, so it should be it'll be an interesting matchup. Yeah, going to be over there in old Pitt Town. So
I think you lay the number. I think you take Notre Dame -10. This is as cheap as this number is going to be, in my opinion.
You can. Oh, hold on. Let's check out. I don't think you can get 11.5s now. There's no 10s.
Okay. Yeah. See, I think this will keep moving to 14, 13. I maybe think closes at 13.5.
Yeah. Baby. Ooh, baby. All right. We'll see. Or like I said, early in the week, so a few more days for the market to mature a little bit. But all right, let's move on, boys. I got a few more matchups to talk about here. SEC matchup. Oklahoma Sooners taking on the Alabama Roll Damn Tide. Crimson Tide, baby. Market standpoint, this one opened largely -7 in favor of Bama. A little bit of buy-in towards Oklahoma here early in the week. So this touched 5.5 and is now largely at 6, 6 at market makers for now. But our model likes Bama at -7. So that's a little sneak preview for later in the show. But talking about this matchup here specifically, Seth, Oklahoma's path to win, like what is it here? I'm not entirely sure. I don't quite understand the market movement on this one, I guess. Early on, maybe there will be some buyback here, but we know a couple of things about Bama. They are more or less kind of one-dimensional on offense. They are 119th in our database in terms of offensive rushing efficiency. So, if that holds and OU's front can hold up, sure, Bama can become pass heavy, but that leans right into what Oklahoma does well in defending the pass here. But beyond that, I'm having trouble kind of reconciling this move early in the market here. So how do you make sense of this one?
Yeah, I think I definitely don't want to get in the business of trying to call this, but this really does feel like a market head fake here, where this thing opened at 7, doesn't take that much liquidity to get this thing to 5.5, and then it's going to get slammed in the next 24 hours when the limits are much higher through back to that 7. Look, if there is a pathway here, it's Oklahoma's defense. Oklahoma's offense is nothing to write home about. 75th passing, 74th in rushing, and that's both basically John Mateer on both sides of the ball, passing and rushing. He's the kind of the only thing that generates offense, but defensively, this team is really good. Oklahoma 18th against the pass and 7th against the rush, and like you said, Alabama struggles running the ball. The one thing I would caveat here, one thing that's very unique when it comes to college football versus NFL, is you will see if you look at these numbers, is yes, Alabama is 119th running the ball, but you will see that still is a positive EPA per rush. So them rushing the ball still is positive expectation.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So it's actually more rare to be positive expectation throwing the ball, which is why there's nuance in that for college football. I think this is a really great spot for Alabama to kind of keep that momentum going. We saw, what they were able to do against LSU, who ironically has a good defense and a poor offense. Now, we saw LSU pull their starting quarterback and putting a running quarterback in.
Yeah.
And he did have some success. And we talked about it last week. That is Alabama's weakness. Alabama, on defense, 86th stopping the rush. So that is their weakness here. But can Mateer throw the ball enough to also have success? That's what I'm not quite convinced on. Oklahoma defensive weighted EPA #1 in our database, though. So, if you ask for the pathway for how Oklahoma is going to win, it's defensively somehow. I also want to give Bama credit. Number 15 in points per Eckel, 3.7 points on Bama. Oklahoma's number 5. So Alabama's defense is very good as well.
Yeah. So Steve, I mean, I wonder if there's any nuance there we can add, because the market total is 46.5. It hasn't really moved off that opening number yet. So the pathway for Oklahoma has to be figuring some stuff out, limiting the efficiency for Alabama's passing attack in particular. And there's no way they can get in a shootout with Bama at this rate, right?
Well, I think it depends. I mean, it depends on who's going to win out here. I mean, listen, we look at this game as a whole, right? Everyone talked about this game last year because this is where Alabama season got derailed by Oklahoma in a 24-3 loss to an unranked Oklahoma team, right? And so now you look at Alabama undefeated in SEC play. I mean, this is something that I keep forgetting, with that. Really, they're not really. Their only loss was against Florida State, obviously a non-conference game. And I know, at least for myself, I'm kind of holding that over their head. But, they're sitting there very pretty, on track to be in the SEC championship game here. And the same things that we talk about Bama's weakness, we've said on the show literally every time we talked about Bama in terms of their ability to rush the quarterback and then their ability to run the ball here. This is where, their ability to stop the run, especially with the mobile quarterback here. So this is where, like Seth mentioned, this is going to be, if Oklahoma is going to have a pathway, it's going to have to be through running the ball here. That has been Alabama's defense. So Seth talked about their rush EPA on defense, but you look at them just at quarterbacks. They're the 77th in run defense grade versus quarterback runs, 101st in yards per carry allowed against quarterbacks. And oh, by the way, they're giving about 20% explosive rates to quarterbacks here. So if you're Oklahoma, that's what you have to do. And we know Mateer can do that. So yeah, if I'm Oklahoma, I'm expecting design QB runs, read options, misdirections, like any way I can get Mateer the ball and get him mobile, it's going to be there. But what I was questioning is, can Oklahoma finish drives, right? That's where, to me, it's going to be the difference in this game here. We saw against, Tennessee last week, Oklahoma, 4 field goals and 1 defensive touchdown early in the game. You look at the box score, you say, oh, they had 33 points. They really could have had so much more here. And so I don't think that that's going to be the recipe to knock off Alabama. And to your point, I'm not sure they can get into a shootout, because to get into a shootout, you have to finish drives. And that's where I think Alabama can have that defense, or have that edge there. And then you talk about Oklahoma's defense. Yes, that's definitely going to be the key thing here for Oklahoma staying in this game. But can they actually get through? Because Alabama's strength is its O-line. They are top 10 nationally in pass block grade. And when Ty Simpson has a clean pocket, he is surgical with that thing. So this, to me, is going to be the matchup. It's going to be in the trenches. It's going to be, can Bama stop Mateer from running the ball effectively, or at least all over them, and can Oklahoma win those drives? And when you're looking at all those different things, I think you have to take Alabama, which clearly we are. And I think that's where they get the edge from.
Co-Heisman favorite Ty Simpson still, right? I think him and for Fernando Mendoza over at Indiana, I think, are still the co-favorites here. Yeah. So
that throw last week might have sealed that deal for real.
With Mendoza.
Yeah.
That was
Steve. I think I agree with everything you say, except this one data point. I don't disagree, but I found this really interesting. Pass rate over expected. Alabama is 9%. Oklahoma 7%. Oklahoma is a pass first team, which is ironic. But Can they run the ball very well? I honestly ask that genuinely. We've come up with this narrative, but if they're such a good running team, why is Mateer throwing the ball 7% more, average, more than an average team? That's
no. I agree, and I want to clarify that. Not just run the ball, run Mateer. And like we said, and this has been a problem all season long, because he's been their offense in the air and on the ground, which is not sustainable. But that is the only way I can see Oklahoma having a chance trying to exploit this Bama defense. But to your point, I don't know that that's going to be enough to really kind of not just win the game, but, cover.
Yeah, all season.
Damn. All right. We might have to circle back to that at the end of the show here. We'll talk about that. But All right, yeah, Oklahoma, Alabama. I'm looking forward. I'm looking forward to this one. Surprised Game Day didn't choose this one, to be honest, but
I think it's because everybody
too
was
much
crucifying
SEC
it,
bias.
which is crazy. It's the best football. It's the best college football. Yeah, no
Hey.
shit, they're biased. Also,
Hey.
they own the SEC network.
Who knows? Who knows what the hell's going on over there? All the craziness they have with, YouTube TV and all that,
It's
all
for
that
the
nonsense
shareholder.
anyway. But
It's for the shareholders.
shout out,
man.
baby. Shout out. Yes, sir. All right. A couple more matchups to break down, and don't go anywhere, guys. Like I said, at the end of the show, we have some free game. We gave a little sneak peek there, but if you didn't catch it, stick around towards the end of the show. And while you're here, appreciate everyone being here. Don't forget to like the video if you haven't already. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We do this show every single week for you guys. So whether it's, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, whatever it is, have those notifications on. You will get the bing, get the ding. Every time we go live, you can sit and talk ball with us the entire show. So, all right, let's move on, boys. We got two more good ones to talk about. Let's hop on over and break down Iowa taking on USC Trojans. Opened at 6.5, Steve, in favor of USC. This touched 7 at some of the market makers. I think it's settling now at 6.5, again, in favor of USC. Our number makes it -5.5, actually. So we do see a little bit of value on Iowa. Not quite enough for us to have a position on it officially, but a little bit of value there nonetheless. So we saw it last week against that Oregon team, Steve. This is obviously a crazy good defense. Now, they had the, I'll say, benefit, or however you want to phrase it, of being in the cold weather, rainy weather in Iowa. This is in USC this time, but Iowa sits in our database the number 27 team in terms of defensive success rate allowed. Is that what else do they need? Is that good enough to limit USC's offense, because they are absolute juggernauts on an efficiency play-by-play basis? Or is this USC's game from start to finish, you think?
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a tough one. It's going to be pretty interesting because this is going to be strength on strength here. And we talk about, we were on the show last week. We had Iowa plus 6.5, and then we were talking about Iowa being able to potentially upset Oregon, which, if not for a last-second field goal, that would have come to fruition here. And so, it's going to be the same thing. I mean, it's going to be defense. It's Iowa's. They're going to need it, right? Because we talk about how potent USC's offense is, led by Jaden Mahaba. I mean, he is absolutely slinging the thing all around. He's one of the best deep passers in college football, not just subjectively, but statistically speaking, in terms of completions, plus 20+ yards here. But, oh, by the way, Iowa's ball defense, or deep ball defense, excuse me, they are one of the best nationally at stopping that, only allowing 1 over the last 3 games. And so if you're USC, that you're used to those explosives, you're used to those home run plays, you have to be more patient, because Iowa's going to be able to stop those, at least theoretically, or at least reduce those on paper. And so how does USC really adjust to that? And then flipping the sides of the ball here, looking at Iowa's offense, they are the most dominant offensive line in the country, 93.9 PFF grade, which is number 2 in the country, 56% run rate, which obviously that's what Iowa football is. But we've been talking about this week in and week out, like not just them being able to run the ball with Kamari Moulton, but Mark Gronowski has been proven to be another dual threat quarterback that I just don't think gets a lot of love for what he does, as well as the tight ends on that squad be able to make deep ball catches. So when you look at this thing, that to me is going to be the matchup here. Kind of like we talk about Oregon. Can Iowa impose their identity? Because if Iowa can run this ball, I'm concerned about USC's rush defense being able to stop them. And that is how you get into it. If Iowa can control pace, tempo, and be able to run the ball down and keep USC's offense off the field, that is their best defense, even though their defense is their best defense, right? That's how you have a pathway to cover here. And I don't think that it's unreasonable. Now, if they can't stop Jaden, if they let him throw the ball over, then yes, this is going to get pretty ugly pretty quick. But I'm not sure that's going to be the game script that we see.
Yeah, Seth, to Steve's point, like how much do you think Iowa needs to, if at all, deviate from that plan that they tried to execute versus Oregon? Because again, if not for that last second deal, like they very well could have won that game, right? But I mentioned it, like USC is even better efficiency wise on offense than Oregon is. So how do you see this one going? And does Iowa have enough on defense to stop them, you think?
Maybe. I think our raw model number is USC by 3, so we make it a little bit different than that Oregon game where raw number was a pick 'em. So
Yeah.
I still think that this game should be close. And I think I echo everything Steve said. I mean, the pathway here is to run the ball. USC struggles running the ball. And quite frankly, it doesn't matter. Iowa only can run the ball. So like it doesn't really matter, right? It just so happens that USC
Isn't that good against defending the rush?
Yeah, exactly. So to me, that's the pathway. Iowa number 1 in points per defensive echo, 2.9 points. So this is strength on strength. USC number 2 passing offense.
Yeah, number 1 in offensive echo rate.
Yeah,
USC, it's that classic. Again, we need our own trademark phrase here instead of strength on strength. I got to figure something out, but yeah, it's gonna be who can bend and not break, really.
I think the one thing that I thought was interesting too is the USC's defensive pass rate over expected is 2%, meaning given the same down distance field position time remaining, teams on average are throwing more than an average team would. And I wonder if that's because they've been up in a lot of these games. Like, are they used to a team attacking them first down, second down, third down, fuck it, fourth down, running the ball? Like, you can see that this Oregon team is built for championships through the Big Ten, and they were really prepared for a Big Ten championship, like Big Ten, like just slugfest. Is USC built the same way? Like they're more like a Corvette. That was like a Jeep game. Like,
Right.
and this is going to be another Jeep game. Like, I don't know. Can the Corvette like get in the mud?
Yeah, we'll see. I think what was the total last week for that? Now, obviously, again, we had the weather issue. I think it was like 40.5, right?
It was low.
It was low. And this for this matchup here, market's sitting at 49.5, relatively early on.
More. I don't think there's rain though in this one, right?
And not from what I saw early on.
And if without that safety, that field goal ties it, right?
That field goal would have tied it, right? What did the score end up? I totally forget, but
I think they won by 2.
I think it was like 18-16.
Okay.
Here, let me.
We were talking about it in the Discord. Like, yeah, the rain has caused more variance, and variance means higher probability of things happening that otherwise wouldn't, i.e. a safety. It just happened to be that the safety went against Iowa. But Iowa could have won that game. I think you have to limit possessions, no doubt, in this game.
Yeah. I
don't know. Is USC the same gritty team that Oregon is? I don't know.
Yeah. If this touches a 7 or a 7.5, maybe it has to get to 7.5 probably to meet the criteria for us.
Yeah,
but
you'll get a bit of a bump. I doubt it'll get there. Yours is just how many groups are waiting to bet a 7. Like,
sure,
everybody. Yeah. The one thing I want to hear the chat. Like, I'm going to hear all week. On the TikTok is letdown spot though, right? This is like Iowa goes and plays their heart out, winning with 2 minutes left, and then they go to USC and USC wins. USC did play Northwestern, kind of a gritty-ish Big Ten team, and they cleaned up. I don't think Notre Dame's or Northwestern's defense is as good as Iowa, but
yeah, we'll see. All right, yeah, we'll see. This will be fascinating. So, all right, Iowa USC in the books. We got one more matchup to talk about before we get to some off the numbers, get to some free model play of the week. So let's get to it. Let's go back to the SEC then. Damn it, why not? Texas taking on Georgia, baby. This one opened -6.5 in favor of Georgia. I think is at 6 largely throughout the market right now. So not a ton of movement from the market standpoint. I got to ask the question, Seth, because I don't have it in front of me. What's the raw number on this one for us if you have it?
Yeah, Georgia -6.
Okay. Oh, that's the raw number as well. Okay. So yeah. I'm again, mental model and model on this one. I'm struggling. I'm struggling to reconcile it. I will say, not spoiler alert, but like I love the under on this one, 48.5, and that's where I'm at, or I'm going to be at for off the numbers here. But I am just not convinced. Obviously, with Texas's weak run game, they're only 115th in our database in terms of rushing efficiency. Yeah, Georgia's solid offensively, passing the ball and rushing the ball, but Texas's D again is really the strong point, particularly against the pass here. So if I'm struggling to see what the game script is for either of these teams to really jump out to a double-digit lead, other than variance, other than fluke shit happening. So from your vantage point, Seth, what is the script for maybe even, let's start with Texas, for them to pull up an offset here?
Well, I was going to say, like, the one thing that comes to mind for both these teams, because I agree the mental model is like, wow, Georgia by 1 billion. Florida, I just come to the word and come to the team Florida. Florida somehow gave both these teams a pretty big fit and either beat Texas outright and was winning a good amount of that game against Georgia. So,
Yeah.
That's the tape I'm watching if I'm both teams. And the other common opponent that we've seen recently is Mississippi State. So we saw very two different tales. Now, Texas technically beat Mississippi State, but Georgia did it in a whole different fashion. It is really difficult to figure out where Texas is going to get their offensive efficiency from. 66th passing, 115th rushing. This is not the second coming or first coming for Arch there. And Georgia's 83rd in pass EPA, 21 in defensive rush EPA. So again, I don't know how Texas is going to move the ball. It feels hard to see how the Longhorns will slow down this game, limit possessions, and stop Georgia. It just feels like a one-way bet for me. And I think Georgia should be able to throw the ball all over Texas. 25th passing offense for Georgia going up against the 47th passing defense. Now, Texas can do one thing, and that's stop the rush. I think you're just going to throw it here. That's, to me, the game.
Okay, yeah. So, Steve, to that point, I mean, is there anything what anything hidden underneath the numbers or from a matchup, narrative or otherwise standpoint that you're seeing? Because there's a part of me who wants to just get a little bit ignorant, but I'm talk me off the ledge, brother. Talk me off the ledge.
Oh, I will do no such thing. Get ignorant. I want to see you crash and burn. I don't care. No, I'm with you. I don't really see much of the pathway here. I mean, I agree with everything Seth said here. You look at this Texas offense, and people go back. Let's look at the game last week, right? Where Texas was dominating Vandy every which way, and then that second half and really that fourth quarter, Texas couldn't do anything right. And that's kind of the Texas we've seen a lot struggle throughout this year. And so, yeah, the game was never really as close as that 34-31 box score really seemed, especially in the first half. And in a way, it kind of was, right? When you're looking at, you kind of isolate that. And that's my concern here is, you look at this Georgia defense, we talked about, what is Texas going to do here and how Manning really hasn't lived up to the preseason hype. You look at their offensive play calling, they've gone Sark's gone conservative, right? 148th in average depth of target, and over a quarter of their plays are either screens or RPOs, which I get you have to do. You have to set up Arch for success. But I think the backside of that is you don't have this ability to really make these sort of, deep throws or these explosive plays because you're being so conservative because you don't know if Arch can make those throws. And I don't know against this Georgia defense, is that going to really be the time where you can sort of let up off the playbook and get really conservative and let that defense really hone in here. Now, the one thing, again, we've said this just like Alabama, we've said a lot of this throughout the season. Georgia really hasn't gotten to the quarterback with their front four, only about a 3% sack rate, which was 128th nationally. So if Texas O-line can hold up, maybe you have some, better outcomes from Arch. But again, I'm grabbing at straws here, trying to find something to say nice about Texas. I'm with you. I don't know if this stays below the 7.
Yeah.
I'll give you a data point for not to talk nicer against Texas, but I guess to talk shit against Georgia. Texas is 96th in offensive points per record at 4.2 points. Georgia on defense is 113th in defensive points per record, giving up 4.9. So in theory, Texas should be able to score their average points per record, and we've seen them kind of make the most of this season. I agree. They're eking out these wins, but they're like, you can see a world where can Georgia's defense do enough? That's the one thing that's shaky here. Like, is Georgia's defense bad enough that they can somehow give a spark to this Texas offense, and there is some semblance of a shootout?
Right. Yeah, and that's what my head at though was like. It's got to be not got to be, but I would not be surprised if you see some fluke stuff happening because what was it, the second or first play of the Texas Vandy game where Arch had this little bubble screen pass that went for 75 yards or whatever it was. Like that's the type of stuff, missed tackles and whatever that's I wouldn't say you would expect from a Vandy team, but it's maybe a little more probable than something with the Georgia team, at least traditionally, right? So, barring any of that type of stuff, what are they going to do? Are they really going to trust your point, Steve, Arch to air it out and double his air yards all of a sudden? Like I doubt it. But yeah, anyway, I think I might go ignorant. I really will off the cuff here a little bit. So I love them dogs, baby. Go dogs. We'll see. We'll see
What's
what happens.
ignorant?
I guess let's not be super dramatic here. Oh, 9.5 and maybe even a sprinkle on 13.5. Yeah. But we're a little bit early we're obviously early in the market still. I got a little bit. I want another day's worth of.
Lagway got benched last week. This Florida team had success against both these teams. To me, that's the more interesting data point. Like, a team that's not that good had success against both these teams. What's going on there? Like, that means to me they're both susceptible. Ignorance to me is like, take the over and Texas money line like parlayed. To me, that's true chaos.
Ultimate variance. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Like, it's like somehow like a shootout and Arch is just crazy.
Maybe. That's sort of variance works both ways. You know,
I don't remember what did we even do the cocktail party Florida Georgia. I don't remember, but like, no doubt the model. I think we made it 9.5, and to be fair, Georgia probably should have covered that number. They kneeled it. He had the touchdown and he went down.
Sure.
So I don't know. Maybe that outcome is a little fluky, but Florida was in that game.
Yeah, I'm going to be dialed into this one. Yeah, for more reasons than one. So we'll see. Should be good. But if Texas obviously loses this one, then they're cooked. They're toast, right? In terms of playoff implications here. But I think the newest rankings just came out just a little bit before we started recording here. But yeah, they can kiss those hopes and dreams goodbye if they fall to Georgia here for sure. So.
And this is Georgia's last SEC game. What? Okay.
Damn, that's bizarre. Yeah, you're right. No kid. They played Charlotte and then Georgia Tech. Wow.
Yeah,
that's bizarre.
So, all right. I mean, in a weird way, like Georgia, this is like Georgia's last chance to make an SEC, bid. So they can't lose. Neither of these teams can lose.
Yes. Right. So, all right. So a lot to play for both sides. So it's going to be should be good fun matchup. So. All right, boys, we got 4 good matchups in the books on deck here for week 12. Before we get to the free model, get back to the free model play of the week. Let's hit some off the numbers. Best bets of the week. Otherwise, outside of the model's perspective here. 12 weeks in, boys, we're having fun with this as we normally do every year. Just friendly competition. Going up against each other head to head here. So I am 7-5 on the year so far. Lost last week. I don't even know what to say. I took Oregon State over Sam Houston State, and Sam Houston State won outright. They had, just the ultimate just kick in the nuts. I was shooketh to my core. Don't know what to say. It's just you take your lumps.
I thought about texting you like you might. That's like an auto bid to losing the whole season.
Yeah. Chat. We'll have to go chat the commissioner. Either way.
That was. Do
not pass go. Do not collect $200.
But it was another one of those things, man. Like the worst net success rate difference of the entire week. Like
no. Oregon State won that game, but like that's how shitty Oregon State is.
Yeah. So God bless it. So take everything I'm about to say with a grain of salt. But anyway, 7-5 year to date. Look at the aggregate, baby. Not any one result here. But anyway, mentioned it a little bit earlier. So I'm on the under Texas, Georgia, 48.5. I don't think I mentioned it, but both teams are still top 15 in defensive echo rate over expected here, as well as solid in defensive success rate. So I'm leaning and are expecting that to hold as opposed to there being maybe variance on both sides of the coin here offensively for both teams. So I would be surprised if either team really scores 30, given the caliber of the offense on the Texas side and given the caliber of on defense for Texas as well. So yeah, under 40.5 is where I'm at. And let's roll, baby. Steve, you're up next. You came away last week with the win, baby. So shout out to you. You are 5-6 year to date. So take us through what you're on this week.
I believe I'll be up plus units because I got some couple of dogs in there, sprinkling in there somewhere. But we'll fact check on that. So this one feels gross, and I hope I'm not getting cute. If you guys have been following us along, that's been my kryptonite all year, but I'm taking Penn State -7.5 over Michigan State. And here's the thing, I'm not trying to get recency bias over that game against Indiana, which that was a hell of a game, but I think we've seen this at least a week and a half now. First half against Ohio State, and then all game against Indiana. This defense is starting to come along. This defense is really starting to put these things together. And the difference here is that, yes, Penn State is, which is crazy, 0-6 in conference play, but so is Michigan State. And I think the difference here between is that this is a Penn State team who was underachieved despite having talent, despite having all, in light of having all these changes going on, versus this is a Michigan State team that just sucks, right? And so really what I'm looking at here is, even though on paper these two have the same record, on roster, they really are two different teams. And so if there's any way or any hope that one team can turn it on, it's going to be Penn State over Michigan State is quite literally who we think they are. And so I'm looking over the last pretty much every conference game except I think Nebraska. Michigan State has lost double digits too. And I expect that trend to continue here. And I think Penn State, starting with the defense, starts to kind of end this season, at least on a little bit of a right note, as much as you can for being a 6-loss team, given their preseason hype. So Penn State -7.5, -105, ESPN bet.
Sounds eerily similar to how I rationalized Oregon State last week.
No. You were hating on Sam Houston State. I'm believing in Penn State. There's a very clear difference here.
Yeah, not to rub it in. I wish you the best, obviously, but 6.5s were available earlier today, but still liking it crossing the 7. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, this is why I got to put this stuff in.
Is it -7 or plus? You're getting points with Penn State?
No, -7.5.
Yeah,
Penn State.
Yeah.
Yep.
At some point, I'll start putting these picks in before 30 minutes before we record. But until that day.
Can I take a alt spread on a model play, or do I need an independent? I got both. I got one. I'm ready to go.
Okay. All right.
I think I'll allow it if it crosses a key number.
Here's what I'll say. Seth is 4 and 7 in off the numbers this year. So I'm
taking big swings. All of mine are plus money. Like just
all yours. Don't hit the player, hit the game. All right, then give us your all, baby. Give us your all. Let's see what you got.
So okay, I'll just give you the two that I like. I like my alts, alt Alabama -9.5. I also like Clemson money line.
Okay. Can you want to ride with both? I think I've taken 2 in 1 week before.
Actually, parlay both those.
Parlay
Alabama 9.5 and Clemson money line.
You're gonna have to.
I'll get it.
All right, we've gone way off the rails.
Who is
best parlay number I'm seeing is 125 over at BetMGM for Clemson.
For Clemson money line, okay. Damn, the first parlay off the numbers. Shut out. All right, this could be it because year to date, yeah, we're -2, just over 2 units for you, Seth. -2 units year to date on off the numbers. So hey, baby, we're talking about swinging. Talk about a potential 4-unit swing here. So love it. All right, let me know when you get that dialed up. We'll record the odds accordingly and get you marked up for sure. So
okay.
Ooh-wee. All right, we're having fun.
While you're doing that, any particular reason for Clemson over Louisville, right? Is that what they're playing this week?
Yeah, the model likes raw numbers at Clemson -3. So it's just I'm just believing it. I'm kind of like fade Louisville and not like you're basically buying the lowest of low ratings you can get on a Clemson team. That is a blue chip ratio team. It's kind of a similar argument to your Penn State team. Like,
sure,
it's a bit different, but like basically I'm getting a blue chip team, bunch of 5 stars, bunch of 4 stars. You're getting as low can get, and Louisville, I think you're getting pretty high number. Now they are coming off the loss to Cal, but I still think that they're a pretty high rated team relative to their numbers.
Sure. Okay. All right, baby. Sounds good. All right, we'll get those odds here on the other side after we give out and get back to our free play of the week, baby. Let's do it. All right, talked about it earlier when we went over the Oklahoma and Alabama game. We gave out to our subscribers. We gave out Alabama -7. Market had a teeny bit of buyback on this one now, so you can get some 6s out there in the marketplace. So if you can, go out and scoop it now. Alabama -6, and shit, while you're there, open the alt lines, baby. Get some -9.5 while you're there.
All right. So alt lines are not possible on MGM. So what
Okay.
I'm going to change my bet. I'm going to do. I made it 2-leg parlay. I got Clemson money line and -6. So I'm riding the free play. I'm 2 units on that, but I'm parlaying them.
All right,
So plus 329.
329. Ooh, get you some 3 units, baby. We'll be in the green, and that won't be in the black after that for sure.
Well, I'm so rich in NFL units that I can play. I can play.
We got some funny money to play with, baby. We got NFL unis, we got CFB unis. Yeah, we got unis to play with. So, all right, very good. There you have it. Again, we went over the reasons why for the Alabama play a little bit later, but 5-3 year to date, giving out the free plays as well. So, hope to keep the fun, the good times rolling with that one. But damn, I really hope you hit your parlay, Seth. I really do. Not gonna lie.
I hope I hit 1 leg of the parlay, which is Alabama, because that just means the model winning. But I'm using the model here for Clemson.
All right. No, that's also fair. Also fair.
Yeah. I mean, you're just getting bottom of the market, Clemson. I mean, the haters got to be crying with the season they were supposed to have versus if we could have like put a basket of LSU, Clemson, like.
That's fair. All right. So Alabama -6 is the free play of the week. And then just a quick snapshot of what else is on tap for us this weekend. We have 4 official plays on the card for us. So yeah, we mentioned it at the start of it too. A little bit less volume than normal, but it waxes and wanes, ladies and gentlemen. So we got some plays here, 4 plays in total. Yeah, week 12, we're going to be starting to crystallize a lot of what that college football playoff landscape looks like as well. So whether it's next week or the week after that, we're going to certainly, I think, revisit some of that discussion as well, because we talked about some of our sims last week. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. There's probably might be a little bit of value still based on the numbers, what the numbers were, and where they might be at now in the market. But we'll come back to that as well. Give you guys a little bit of snapshot from what if any edge there might be left in the marketplace for some futures as well. So, all right, boys, should be a fun weekend. College football week 12 is on deck. So, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Appreciate it. We will be back next week talking CFB week 13, talking matchups, talking data, talking angles, talking another hopefully winning week in college football, baby. 61.2%. Let's keep the good times rolling. Until then, good night, good luck. We'll see you.